Hello, and welcome to the Digital Workspace Works podcast. I'm Ryan Purvis, your host, supported by our producer Heather Bicknell. In this series, you'll hear stories and opinions from experts in the field, stories from the front lines, the problems they face and how they solved them, the areas they focused on from technology, people and processes, to the approaches they took that will help you to get to the grips with the digital workspace inner workings.
Hey Heather, how are you?
I'm good. I swear I thought it was Wednesday. I'm ready to relive Wednesday. I could use another day.
That's funny. One of my friends was saying that last night. He was hoping it was Monday again because he needed 2 more days this week.
I'm glad there are a legion of us. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. All good. I was just busy. My wife's been sick, so I've been doing a lot more stuff. So that's a lot more household stuff. And it's amazing how it affects your day when you're just doing washing and cleaning and picking the kids up from school, dropping them off. So I've been doing a few 4 a.m. working sessions just to keep up with the work I've got to do.
Are you still waking up because of your daughter, or are you starting to set alarms too?
No, I'm still waking up based on her. But it's almost become a trained thing for me now. So like 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and I go check on them, and then I go sit downstairs, and then I wait, and then she cries, and then I sort of debate: do I go and check or do I wait? And then I sort of see. Sometimes I have to go, sometimes I don't. But then I need my afternoon nap because it does wear you out a bit.
Yeah, you can only not sleep so much.
Yeah. So we were cut off on Tuesday. I had to deal with something quickly. I can't remember what we were discussing, to be quite honest.
I think I was talking a little bit about preparing for my upcoming trip to Ireland.
Oh, yes.
I don't remember if we got stuck into a tech topic yet.
I don't think we did, no. Cool. Anything? You sent me quite a nice TikTok video around Canva, which I was quite impressed with. Do you want to start with that one?
Sure. Yeah, this one surprised me. So I guess first thing, I did join TikTok a couple months back, I caved, and I guess my recommendation is if you haven't got on the platform yet, don't, because it is just another addictive social media platform. But again, it's like, I think one of those things I'm definitely on, tech talk. So now it just feels informative, right? I'm getting the latest news. I'm like, I'm following like people who do customer success or like, chief product officers. And it gives you like a window into what their working lives are like. And I don't know, maybe that's like, so into this stuff that, that's what my TikTok feed looks like. But anyway, those people are on TikTok, so that's fun to learn. But this TikTok was this guy, I think on the venture scene, talking about a huge release that Canva did. So if you don't know Canva, they're a graphic design company, sort of a competitor to Adobe. But what they specialize in is really easy to use graphics. So it's more pre-made, and you like templates, so you can put it together, and it's something that a lot of social media managers will pull from if they don't have a graphic designer, right? That's kind of one of the things that's meant to help you with. But they released a whole other range of products on the same day, and I think that's what is really one sort of remarkable, but also interesting from a strategy perspective. Like, I'm like, what are they? Why really? I think one of them was a Squarespace competitor, right? Like, have your website on Canva. It's been a few days. Do you remember what the other major announcements were?
To be honest, it was such a long list.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe so Canva, from my experience, was just a place to go and do a quick graphic.
Yeah.
If you go look at my LinkedIn profile, that's a Canva banner that I did It took me all of 15 minutes, and that came on recommendation from a guy at Virtual Non-Execs, where he said, well, if you know, he does like a 30-minute crash course on your social media profile, and he showed me how to do it. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And my wife uses it as well whenever we do like a birthday party or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was really that kind of tool. It was almost an easy to use self-service designer tool. And if you look at some of the stuff on LinkedIn now, a lot of people are doing their blog posts, and instead of being a long blog post, they're doing like multiple slides as pictures, and you can sort of slide through them. I've seen a couple of Canva templates for that now as well. So it's really that kind of, you know, visual augmentation tool. But where this got interesting is they added all these other products, and it's almost like just switch them on. So they have a web hosting solution now. There was some sort of image generation thing. You type some text and it generates an image for you.
The AI. I totally forgot about they added the like AI design stuff that's been coming out just as a
just switch it on. So I mean, I haven't played with any of these things yet. Why I thought it was interesting was because I think a week before Adobe bought Figma.
Yeah.
And Figma, you know, is a great tool. It, you know, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos of people that do design work, they will often use Figma. And when we did our rebuild or redesign of our UI for Hilo, we used Figma. And it's okay. It's not a completely easy tool to use on the get go. You need a little bit of time to get your head around how it works. But once you know how it works, it is an easy tool to use. And them going to Adobe, and they went for a really big number, which also I just can't fathom how they got to that number. The concern is that really cool tool, will it be a really cool tool still? Will it still be you could get away with using it for free for pretty much anything you were doing for a while. In fact, I know a few people that use only the free version, and they run a very good business out of it. Well, that still exists because now it's gone to Adobe. Adobe will want to get you onto a subscription or sell something to you to pay for whatever they spent on the business. I mean, it was, I can't remember what the numbers were, but they were really big numbers. I mean, in the hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion or something. And Canva just releasing their product at the same time kind of went, well, that's cool, but here's what we've got for you, and this is full suite of things. Now, pricing wise, I don't think it matters, because if you need those tools, I think the value's there. Even if we use Canva, as I say, once in a while, we might spend $12 on it. That's not a lot of money. And you don't need to buy a license typically. You just need to use it for whatever you're doing. And from what I could remember reading on their website, they haven't changed their pricing model. Obviously, these things are always subject to change. But it's just crazy how at this point in time these two things have happened, and it's almost positioned Canva in a great place, because for all the people that are unhappy about the Figma acquisition, they're like, where do you go? Oh, we go to Canva, because Canva's got most of that stuff anyway. Because they had a prototyping tool as well.
Yeah, I guess one thing, sorry, I've been looking up the details here so we can add them in. Figma acquisition, 20 billion, which, that is a big number. I would argue that almost, the existence of, Adobe's been the undisrupted giant in the graphic space. So
they did that acquisition. Now, if you go look at the pricing model, so their free forever tier is still there, still the same. Your professional is $12 per month, and then your Figma organization is $45 per editor. You're going to have to sell a lot to make back 20 billion. On those figures. Now, if you go and compare that to the Adobe pricing, which, to be fair, I mean, Adobe got a lot of products, and the Creative Cloud, which is the Creative Cloud, what they call it. would you bundle this in? I mean, we don't know what their strategy would be, but you've got the photo, graphic design, video, illustration, UI, UX, and social media categories. The pricing on this stuff, you're looking at 22 for the business for Adobe Acrobat. I can't find actually the pricing for the other stuff, so I think you'd almost have to speak to a consultant to get the pricing. And if that's the case, you are not going to have high adoption because people don't really want to talk to people to buy something they were buying online before. Oh, there we go. Now I found pricing. So your Illustrator is £16 a month. So that's not too much different then. But it's
a suite, yeah.
But it's a suite, yeah, and it just makes you wonder, like how are they going to? Maybe it's a case of buying market share. Maybe it's got nothing to do with the product.
I think it's protective, and I think it's because of companies like Canva and Figma that Adobe has to think that way, and how do they snuff out some of that competition? Maybe just through acquisition.
Yeah, so you're going through the list of Canva stuff.
Yeah, I found it. Did you find it?
No.
So it's Canva Docs, Canva Websites, Canva Whiteboards, and Data Visualization.
That was the other one, data visualization, yeah.
So it's interesting because it's more of they're doing it differently. It's not all graphic design. It's more of a workplace suite, or like maybe even like a small business play. If you don't need everything and, all the bells and whistles of a full graphic design editor, if you don't need all the bells and whistles of, Office 365 for your document editing. I'm saying this, I don't know how, good Canva Docs is and whatnot, but you could buy maybe this package for your small, medium business. That might be where this fits in.
Well, I think it's definitely bridging that gap for the small business owner that doesn't want to go get a design company or a designer to do. You can just watch the adverts on the front page, the what do you call it? The animations of how you build a flyer or how you build do your branding and your marketing proposal. Because once you've written your document in Word and you've you can go only so far with Word templates and themes and that sort of stuff, and a lot of that stuff is very, very wonky anyway. But to make it look really professional, if you can import this into a tool that's graphically centered, which is what this is, you could really buff it up by yourself. Now, whether you want to spend your time doing that, that's a different question. But maybe it's enough for the volume of a small business.
Yeah. And then you have all your design assets centralized, so you can put them in your docs, put them on your website, obviously download them in all the formats that Canva has offered historically. I think the whiteboards is interesting because that gets more into the collaborations. That's like a Miro competitor.
Yeah, well, Figma has Fig Jam, which is the whiteboard thing, but I think it comes back to collaborative discussion where you need to share your design your idea, and you maybe are working with a designer or someone that in your team that's a bit more design skilled, and you just want to put together the concept and let them go and spend their time building the Canva template for you. If they're already empowering it with AI for the image generation, it wouldn't be long before you could do a whiteboard concept and have the AI interpret that and deliver something. How long is obviously going to be relative to how complicated it is, but feasible anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the interesting thing about the AI piece is something that Canva doesn't. One thing Canva can't give you is artistic skill. to create original graphics, right?
Yeah.
You might still need to hire someone who, has that skill. But if you can create what is an original piece, right? I don't know, I guess, how copyright applies to any of the AI generated art, but I think it's, that's an interesting separate discussion. But if you create that original piece just by, typing in your keywords and design notes, and the AI generator spits out some art for you to use, and you use that on your website or your graphics, you cut out the need for a specialist in that case to be paying to do that work.
Yeah, and you'd probably assume that they've got enough volume through the Canva site that they are paying a license fee somewhere to someone. So it's not a complete loss for those involved, but in general, you can see the advantage. There was I'm just trying to find the name of it. There was actually an AI service that was being provided in beta, which I have signed up for to get access to, where you could type a sentence and the AI would generate the picture for you. And I cannot remember what it was called. But that...
Yeah, there are a few. I want to say one is like Cram AI. I could be making that up. But yeah, I've used a few, and they're a bit surrealist in their interpretations, right? Like the AI can do some funky things. It's not like you're getting a perfect graph, like a perfectly generated image, but they are really interesting.
Yeah, so from the so I found it. It's the OpenAI.com website. It's called DALL
DALL-E Mini, yeah.
That's the one that we were talking about in this group. And I'm wondering if they're not using something like that because you wouldn't want to build your own necessarily. You would want to have a service that's already been doing what it needs to do.
Yeah, I think they did integrate with an existing one rather than build their own. But yeah, still very interesting. I guess the other thing I wanted to touch on, what do you think about the strategy of launching this all at once? I mean, they're launching it as a Worksuite, so I guess that makes sense, but it's a lot to, companies don't typically roll out that many products at once. So I guess I was impressed. Wonder how long it's been behind the scenes working.
Yeah, I found it a pleasant surprise. And the reason why I find it a pleasant surprise is, a lot of the projects and products that I've worked in, we always do incremental improvements. And we always, release regularly.
Yeah.
And often pushing out new features, new functionality. You're not doing it necessarily all at once because you want to make sure there's adoption, and you want to not overwhelm your end user. But often that means you're just too slow to get things out sometimes. And it's refreshing in the sense that they just turn these things on. They've probably been there for ages in some respects, to a small beta that's using it. But it's just nice to someone responds to the market and say, well, actually, we've got all this stuff. Here it is. Here's everything we've got. This is all the stuff in the larder. We're going to give it to you so you can use it. And maybe it's not all polished and all ready, but it must be in a good enough state to share. And I think that's a big message to the market that they're serious. It's a serious platform. And I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about Canva, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the original concept filled a gap that people, like a frustration that so many people have experienced, right? Like I just saw, I want to make, my own LinkedIn page, and where do I go to make a banner without, like, I don't have graphic design skills, or I don't want to pay for something like an Adobe subscription, right? That, I had to figure out how I can cancel, which they make really difficult to do. So yeah, I think it's a good tool for that kind of thing. and it'd be interesting to see how they continue to expand this Worksuite.
Yeah. So I've been playing with Crayon while we've been talking. The only thing that I it's not an issue, but my expectation is probably different. So what I was expecting is a brand new image for what I typed, but what I'm getting more is reused images. Now the reason why I have an issue with it is I've always wanted to be able to type a sentence or a paragraph, or even write a story, for example, like the stories I make up for my kids, and have that character generated almost to what my imagination has. That's interesting. So I added the word comic to my. So what I'm looking for, I don't want to give this away because it's something that I'm working on for my son. But I added the word comic to the phrase that I wrote, and I got a completely different skew on what I was looking for. It's actually quite cool. I'm going to take all I just said back, because it kind of has hit hit the imagination button now. I can actually find. So I was looking for a specific type of character, and there's actually, out of the 9 images I've got, I could use one of them.
Yeah.
So that is
it's fun to play around with, for sure. It's pretty cool.
No, I could definitely waste some time on this.
Yeah, I definitely have. And sometimes the engine is slow to churn out an image, so you're just, waiting there. Unfortunately, yeah.
I don't need to go, but it's amazing that, like, I've typed in this phrase. It says it'll take up to 2 minutes. And just that alone, just typing a sentence and getting a couple image ideas in 2 minutes, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's not that long to wait for something like that. This is kind of incredible.
I've got a very good designer friend who I'll ask for an idea on something, and she might take a week to come back to me. So just having it in 2 minutes, and you spend an hour, or not even an hour, you spend 10 minutes, that's 5 variations.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, thanks. I know you got to run, but good to catch up.
Yeah, good talking. It's a fun one. Alrighty.
Cheers, bye.
Good one. Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Heather Bicknell is our producer and editor. Thank you, Heather, for your hard work on this episode. Please subscribe to the series and rate us on iTunes or the Google Play Store. Follow us on Twitter @the DWW Podcast. The show notes and transcripts will be available on the website www.digitalworkspace.works. Please also visit our website www.digitalworkspace.works and subscribe to our newsletter. And lastly, if you found this episode useful, please share with your friends or colleagues.